my Christmas break was not what I had hoped it would be. So thank you all for your grace. And I'm happy to see everybody here. We want to start with just a round of introductions from everybody. And we'll just do a popcorn. So introduce yourself and then pass it off to somebody else, please. I'm Brooke Brownlee. I'm the co-chair of the committee, and I work for Portland General Electric, managing their community engagement, workforce, and labor efforts. Now I will pass it off to Raina.
Hi, Rena Langston, Program Director for the Southwestern Oregon Workforce Investment Board, serving Coos, Curry, and Douglas counties. I will give it to Brian Bond.
Brian Bond, internship coordinator with the Malheur Works internship program based out of the Frontier STEM Hub, Malheur ESD in Vail, Oregon. And I will give it to the other Brian.
I think there's only two, so that must be me. Thanks, Brian. Brian Neese here from the Office of Workforce Investments within the HEC. I administer a number of federal and state workforce grants, as well as industry engagement in certain sectors. I'll give it to, Steph.
Hey all, I'm Steph Solomon. I am with the Office of Workforce Investments within the HEC, and I'm one of their youth grant administrators. I oversee grants that are both state general fund, other fund, and federally funded, primarily within the youth realm. And I will pass it over to, let's see, I'll do Jeremy. We'll just get the HEC folks out of the way. Yeah.
Good afternoon, Jeremy Ahla with Higher Education Coordinating Commission. I am a youth workforce and program analyst with Steph and Brian in the office, predominantly with a grant portfolio called Oregon Youth Corps. I'll pass it over to Mel.
Awesome. Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Mel Keller. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the Partner Support and Community Outreach Program Analyst with the Youth Experiencing Homelessness Program in ODHS. And I will pass to, I'm not sure, Belinda. I'm not sure if you've gone yet.
Hello, everyone. Belinda Brown, Tribal Partnerships Director with Lomakatsi Restoration Project. And I can't see the lineup, so please, somebody go next.
I can go next. I'm Davey Pearson. I work for Discover Your Forest over in Bend, Oregon. The Career Pathways Program Manager, and work really closely with the Forest Service. And I will pass it to Digit.
I'm Digit McCracken. I am in Grant County. I work for Oregon State University Extension and do college and career readiness. I am playing with my camera, so I don't know why I don't have a camera right now. So I'm working on my settings, but happy to see everyone else. Has Sarah gone yet?
Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah Cochran with Youth Career Connect, and I'm based in Bend as well, David, so I feel like we need to connect. And I'm the program coordinator for our internship program. I will pass it off to Zion.
Hi, everybody. My name is Zion Mesfin, and I'm here on behalf of OSW WACDC in Multnomah County. Nice to see you all. And I will pass it to Paula.
Sorry, I'm in a different room. My camera. Hello, everyone. I'm Paula Escobedo Rambo, and I am the supervisor for the Columbia Gorge Youth Connection in Wasco County. and I will pass it to, oh gosh, someone that hasn't gone. I'm super sorry.
I
can
go.
Oh,
No, go Ashley, go.
hi. I'm Ashley, and I am the board admin for this board and office support for OE, and I'm down here in Eugene. Hillary, go ahead.
Hi, everybody. I'm Hillary Blackstone. Pronouns are she, her. I am based out of Salem with the HEC and work primarily with Oregon Conservation Corps, but try to help out wherever possible with Oregon Youth Works. Miranda, do you want to go next?
Sure, thanks, Hillary. I'm Miranda Scheiding. I am the program manager for the Office of Workforce Investments and at the Higher Education Coordinating Commission. And I will pass it to, I think, my friend Charlie Hopewell.
I had my cursor over on another screen and I couldn't find it. Hi, this is Charlie Hopewell. I'll be talking later on in the agenda in regard to the Workforce Readiness Committee. I represent the Workforce Talent Development Board, as well as industry in the Industry Education Connection. So, and since I'm a guest, I have no idea who to pass it to. So somebody take the ball.
I'm going to jump in, Charlie. Jim Taylor here. My apologies. Brooke, to you first. I promised I'd be on time and I wasn't. So I know you're not feeling well. So sincere apologies for that. To everyone else, California wildfires are, we're running to answer a lot of phone calls. So I apologize that I was not here on time. And Jim Taylor, co-chair of the board, along with Brooke, and work at disaster recovery for Oregon Housing, principal focus on rebuilding homes for wildfire survivors. Also a key personnel member of Team Oregon Build, youth building sheds and shelters for homelessness and wildfire mitigation and response. And could I ask people who have not yet gone to hit the raise hand button? Hillary's jumped in. And Rudy Ann, could we lean to you next? And anybody who else has hand raised will also get called upon. Thanks.
Hi, yes. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon and Happy New Year. My name is Rudy Ann Rivera Lindstrom, and I am the Director of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Accessibility at the HEC. Good to see everybody.
Thank you, Rudy Ann. Ashley, could you go next, please? And then Matthew, if you'd wrap it up for us.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ashley Wright. I am the representative here from the Oregon Governor's Office. I am the executive assistant to Sarah Foster, who is our higher education and workforce advisor to Governor Tina Kotek.
Thank you, Ashley. Glad you're here. Matthew, and then Doug's going to kick us into some action items.
Great. Yeah. Hi, all. My name is Matt Collins. I work with the Higher Education Coordinating Commission, and I am also with the Oregon Youth Works team. I serve as the Oregon Youth Works program coordinator and get to work alongside all the programs and also manage 3 grants that are related to semiconductor work and young entrepreneurs. It's great to see everyone, and thank you.
I guess that leaves me, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm Doug Denning. I'm the director of the Oregon Youth Works Advisory Board and serve as a senior advisor within our Office of Workforce Investments. So thank you, everyone, for being here today. And Jim, I'm actually just going to probably kick it back to you. We're a little bit ahead of time. But I also want to just say, Charlie, thanks for jumping on early, just in case we were off agenda times a little bit. So it's perfect that you were here a little early. Thank you.
Charlie's always up early. I have known Charlie the latest. I'm going to do the math on how many decades it's been, but I've got a story to tell before we introduce him. So since we are ahead of schedule, Brooke, I'm going to jump in and grab the rest of the agenda and help save some voice if that works for you.
That sounds great. Thanks.
Okay, and continue to heal. Would you please, everybody, I'm going to put a prompt in the chat, and because we have a large crew, but also just because it's also getting to know each other still and having that time to learn about each other, I don't think anything is more revealing than what your soup and sandwich combo is during the winter months. So if you were to put together a soup and sandwich combo during the winter months, what would it be? And if there's an actual place and space that you would go to have that soup and sandwich, would you please also list that? Because I always need good culinary references. I am going to cheat. I'm going to say mine out loud and then I'll put it in. But if you put it in the chat as we're rolling along here, your favorite soup and sandwich. Because I've been doing a lot of work in Medford, you have to go through Central Point. Rogue Creamery offers a grilled cheese with an exterior grilled crust. They put the cheese on the outside, crust sandwich with a their international award-winning blue with an aged cheddar with a honey drizzle that you then dip into a 3 tomato tomato soup. It is out of this world. It is worth the drive, and it is a mandatory stop for myself and my team anytime we're down there. That's at Rogue Creamery. So I'll put that in there. Start throwing those in the chat. We have enough space and time if there's anybody that wants to give the like real good, you know, Emerald Lagasse share on their soup and sandwich. Do it right now. Who wants to jump in and do it?
I just think we need to have a grilled cheese party.
We could
It
do
seems
that.
like a lot of people like this.
Okay, so your winter. Oh, we've got photos. All right. To the document and the time. We've established quorum. Thank you. We've done a welcome warm-up is happening in the chat. Our next action item, if there isn't anybody that wants to verbally share their soup and sandwich, will be to accept the minutes of the December minutes. Is there a motion to accept minutes from December?
I move
I
to accept
motion.
the.
My bad, sorry. I'll motion to accept them.
Okay, Paula moves to accept.
I'll
There's- Thank you for the second. All those in favor, a verbal aye or a thumbs up on the screen, please, for reference.
Aye.
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 Any dissent, please say nay or thumbs down. All righty, I think we're approved then. Hopefully I've followed all the proper protocols. I thank you as I continue to learn. Ashley, I think we turn now to public testimony.
There was no public comment.
Okay. Thank you. And we turn to Doug for director's report, please.
Yeah, thanks. So it's only been a month since we last met, but there are a few things I wanted to update folks on. First of all, congratulations to Heidi Lorick from, hope I pronounced that right, maybe it's Larwick, from Connected Lane County. She yesterday became the newest member of our board, filling the last open seat. So I was in contact with her this morning, and we will be getting her onboarded soon. Tiffany Pern, who helped facilitate the conversations at our last meeting, has put together a report that summarizes the feedback from all of our conversations around strategic priorities and data collection, and then the opportunities for achieving sustainable funding. We'll get that out to folks soon for everybody to take a look at. Brooke and Jim, I look forward to getting with you to see what our next steps are with that as far as getting it on the agenda and future conversations. Just got my notes here. After our last meeting, especially when we were talking about the data, I reached out to Youth Development Oregon, or Youth Development Division, that's kind of a quasi-owned governmental agency housed within the Department of Education. And we meet on a frequent basis. A lot of us on different teams meet with their folks. But I had a good talk with their deputy director about the conversations we were having and where we wanted to take them in the future, and they're in complete alignment with conversations they would like to have and would like to join us to see if we can really streamline and maybe tighten up what we're asking, in some cases, the same grantees to provide. And I'm not going to put Jeremy on the spot, but at a future meeting, I think it'd be really great if we could get Jeremy some time on the agenda to talk about what he's doing with YDO specifically and our 9 federally recognized tribal sovereign nations, because it's pretty impressive, and it's really groundbreaking and could really set a precedent for other state agencies to follow. So this is just kind of at a larger level that I was talking with Cord, but Jeremy's doing some really cool on the ground work that we'll see if we can get him to share out in a future meeting. We talked about those that were able to make the meeting in person last month, just the value in everybody being together and sharing that space and getting to know each other. And more importantly, going out and getting to talk to young people and to see the programs and to see what some of the outcomes were, what some of the challenges are, and not just hear about it, you know, from a talking head like myself, but to go out and really experience it and, you know, kind of emerge into the programming. I think maybe we have enough money to do another in-person meeting in April. I'll have to talk internally with some folks, but Hillary shot me a message in a meeting earlier, and so I want to explore that a little bit more, but we might be able to pull that together. So stay tuned for that on locations or different types of site visits folks would like to potentially attend. A couple other quick reminders, just as a reminder for those who don't follow the legislative session as closely as we do, it will start later this month. So that will start a lot of work for us and a lot of conversations. We'll make sure to keep you all up to date on any topics that come up, either that we were prepared for or that just kind of are sprung on us during session that could affect any of the programs or the work of this board. And then the other, I guess, last quick announcement is welcome back to Julia Steinberger. She's not on the call today, but she is the director of the Office of Workforce Investments here at the HEC. She's been on an expected leave since September and is starting back part-time this month, and will be back with us full-time in February. So just a shout out to her, and on top of that, a shout out for Miranda, who's been doing 2 jobs since Julia's been out in September, and keeping our office running. So Julia, my goodness. Miranda, thank you so much for that. And I think that's it. Jim, unless there's any other questions on if somebody wants a quick update, that's what I had in my notes.
Fabulous. Thank you. Can we open it for questions for Doug, please? Anybody? I do my middle school count to 10 internally. It's a slow count. Okay. Thank you. Being a few minutes ahead, I would like to ask
Jim, Zion.
Oh, sorry, Zion. Thank you very much, Zion.
Hi, sorry for being a late hand.
Not a problem.
I'm new here, and I just wanted to learn as much as I could about everyone in this meeting and get the opportunity to network. And I just wanted to ask, what is the HEC organization, and who do they serve?
Excellent. Who wants to provide the fast? Who is HEC? Who in the heck is HEC?
Sorry if it sounds like a silly question. I'm a newcomer. I'm just trying to learn as much as I can.
Well, that is wonderful. Let's do that out loud. What is HEC? What is kind of the origin story and the family that hosts our organization, right? If somebody could do that. And then while somebody's verbalizing that, how about if everybody right now in the chat throws in name, agency, and maybe just a quick the focus of your work. That'll allow us to capture it for Zion, and we can have it for others in the future as well. Who you are, where you're from, and what you're doing. And then is there somebody that would lead the definition and explanation of Higher Education Coordinating Commission, Community College Workshop, Workforce Development, and WTDB, and all the boards? Who wants that?
Wow, Jim, you're usually the one that throws the ringers at me. So Zion, thanks for giving Jim a break here. What I will do is maybe I'll put my direct contact information in the chat. And if you'd like to reach out, we can get together one-on-one offline and talk a little bit more about the purpose of this board and kind of your interest in attending today. Really, the Higher Education Coordinating Commission is a state agency. It's responsible for the funding for our university systems, our community colleges. There are other pieces that are in there. One of them is the Office of Workforce Investments, which is what we are a part of as far as this board that looks at, and within the Office of Workforce Investments, there's a youth focus, the Oregon Youth Works portfolio. So without going into super detail and getting us too derailed off of our timeline on the agenda, I think knowing that it's a state agency, we're an office within that state agency. The agency continues to grow. Total, we have about 200 staff of the agency. even though we only have 200 staff, we're one of the larger state budgets with a close to $4 billion budget biannually that our agency is responsible for. And yeah, I would love to get together with you and chat offline and just have some more conversation.
Awesome. Thank you, Doug. Zion, does that help kind of set the grounding there for you?
Yeah, thank you. I would love
Super.
that. I do want to say though, my chat for some reason isn't really working, but I'll go through the video once the meeting ends. And
Super.
yeah. Thank
All right,
you.
we will do follow up with you. Thank you so much. And thank you folks for putting your information in there. Awesome. Zion, I have a follow-up question for you really quick. We got 30 seconds here can you tell me please what OSWACDC stands for if I caught your acronym correctly?
Yeah, thank you. I would love to. So OSWWACDC stands for Oregon and Southwest Washington Community Development Center. We work towards for African refugees or just general people of all kinds, everyone, but we have a focus on African people and diaspora. We help with housing, immigration status, and if we help out, kind of allocate them to different resources. Yeah, so
All right.
I'm working on behalf of the youth division right now. So I just wanted, I recently did a project for youth mental health where we partnered up with NAMI and served the Multnomah County. But I feel like I'm still getting my foot in the water and still learning so much. Yeah, one of the reasons, that's why I joined today's meeting. I don't want to take
Great.
up too much time, but yeah, thank you for
That's
asking.
perfect response. We appreciate that. Thank you. Ashley, to you, please.
Really quickly, we have a YouTube channel. So if you Google Oregon Youth Works Advisory Board YouTube, you'll be able to find our previous meetings, and I will have this one uploaded by the end of the day today. Okay. Great.
Super. Thank you, Ashley. Any board members and guests, any other questions for Doug based on Doug's share for Director Share? Ashley? Oh, hand is still up. Zion, could I ask you to lower your hand by chance when you have a second? Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, I'd like to elevate a general question. Let's take 4 or 5 minutes, please. Would love a couple verbal share outs. Highlights. Anybody have a highlight from the experience together in December that you would like to share out? I know we did have some members of the board and partners online for that experience, but was there a moment that stands out for you? Or has there been anything since we gathered that's kind of been an ongoing cycle of the time together? Couple hands, couple shares, or anything in the chat is welcome. Belinda?
We do have a highlight in partnership with the Department of Labor. We just were confirmed and approved for the Forest Conservation Specialist occupation for pre-apprenticeship. And now next steps is Bureau of Labor Industries in Oregon, and then able to have that pre-apprenticeship program and occupation. So some of the meetings we've been on have been challenges to work that we're doing and why aren't these occupations out there? And lo and behold, it wasn't even approved at Department of Labor in Washington, D.C. So it's a win for us. It's a win for Oregon, and having that forestry conservation specialist, forestry conservation technician approved at that level.
Congratulations, and thank you for that share. Fantastic. Big win. Anyone else with big highlights since we gathered, or some reminiscing of what was seen as a big moment in our time together, or connections that you've made since that time together? I will share that I have, if folks recall in the live gather, we went to the community services group that was associated with in Polk County there with Youth Corps and Conservation Corps and the work going on there. And I have been doing some outreach and we'll be leaning into some volunteer opportunities to support their construction program. They're so excited to have a chance to make a connection with new folks in my region where I work and live, and am grateful that became aware of a program I wasn't aware of that was literally in my backyard. So grateful to Doug and Ashley and others for making that connection there. Enough space for one more share or two possibly, if anybody has one. David?
Yeah, I just really appreciated that we all got a chance to be in the room together, and I realized after the fact that I had a chance to have like at least one conversation with each person. So that was something that I valued, and I just really liked the site visit and actually seeing people in these programs. So the youth, yeah.
Fabulous, thank you. All right. Oh, Brian, great. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I really appreciated actually having the virtual option. No, it wasn't quite as immersive as everyone that got to be in person, but at such a great distance over here with the bad weather and the passes, it was nice to be able to be included in that and have that connection with everybody all together. So just wanted to say thank you to the team for making that happen.
Thank you, Brian. And that's a big lean into Ashley and crew that were, and Hillary, I know, was doing lots of coordination there with the online work. So thank you to all of you. All right, wonderful. I would like to I'm going to cry, Charlie, at some point. You know, it always happens every meeting. I have known Charlie Hopewell since I was a wee lad, 10 years old.
It'd be somewhere around there.
Yeah. So grew up on the street alongside of Charlie and Barbara and their kiddos. I used to stand outside his house at the bus stop, and they had a covered porch, and he was always up early having coffee or making orange juice or making cinnamon rolls, and would say, you know, hey, let's have a chat. And our whole family now, long time, very closely connected family friends. In fact, most of the time when I call my mom, she asks me, how's Charlie, before she checks in on how I'm doing. So super glad to have had you accept our invitation to come share about all the work that you're doing. And then Charlie and I reconnected, I'd say about 5 years ago on work items when I joined the Oregon Department of Education. So Charlie, the floor is yours. And folks, I would encourage you to put notes in the chat anytime something comes up that Charlie's sharing that you want to do some follow-up, so you can make sure you capture that thought. We'll go to the chat first, and then we'll go to hands raised when we get some Q&A time with him. So everybody, please welcome Charlie Hopewell.
Great, thank you. Thanks, Jim. This is kind of like old home week because I've got Jim Taylor, who grew up literally down the street, and then grew up with my wife and I. In addition, Brooke Brownlee. Brooke was in my church, and so I've known Brooke since she was just a wee lass. And so it's been fun to be able to do that. And in regard to the Rogue Valley Creamery, I was born and raised in a dairy in Southern Oregon, and we had an all Jersey herd, which for any of you that have any kind of a biology or background and so forth, you'll know that Jersey cows have a very, very high butterfat content in their milk. And when you take a gallon of milk from a Jersey, somewhere around a third to maybe even half of it could be possibly cream. Well, our cream went to Rogue Valley Creamery, and the creamer and the Rogue Valley blue cheese. So proud background. So thanks for that entree, Jim. So first of all, just kind of quickly, so who am I and why am I here? I've been involved in school to work transitions and so forth really throughout my entire career. And as you can tell by a little bit of the gray hair, I am retired at this point, officially from day-to-day operations, but I've been involved in manufacturing my entire life. And primarily, one of the reasons that I really got involved in it is that I realized as we were trying to look for people to bring talent into our organization, we had a manufacturing facility called Nielsen Manufacturing in Salem. And in order for us to grow and bring people in, we needed a pool of talent that was rising up through the ranks. And when we looked around, we saw that that talent was diminishing in a fairly rapid rate. And then due to some early initiatives in regard to property tax legislation and so forth, we saw vocational programs just gutted throughout the education system and so forth. So it was one of those of stepping up and stepping in to be able to have the talent to then move forward. So I've got a long history, both from a regional as well as a statewide, and I've had a chance to talk nationally several times in regard to career technical education, contextual learning, and so forth. And so that brought me to really the passion that I've held throughout my career. Currently focusing most of my time on our grandchildren. We have a granddaughter and a grandson very close to us, CTE, essential employability skills, which I'll talk to about in a minute. And I remain engaged as a member of our board of directors of our company and so forth. So, but why am I here? So I'm a previous member of the Oregon Workforce Investment Board, which was the predecessor to the Workforce Talent and Development Board. I was also a liaison between the Oregon Workforce Investment Board and the Oregon Talent Council. And so those were the early days of really trying to do collaborative efforts of trying to figure out how do we address the workforce needs of the state of Oregon and so forth. So I've remained committed to really contextual learning, and I think that's a real key for me, is that ability to essentially align concept with application for the purpose of learning and so forth. And we've all seen, of course, the success rates of many of the kids this past summer. Jim with Team Oregon Build had an amazing example of a group of youth that were engaged in the Team Oregon Build project with 100% attendance of all of those kids, who, by the way, were marginalized in most of the areas of their lives and so forth. And so that is where Jim and I actually sat in the middle of the floor with tears rolling down our cheeks, watching these kids come up to us, introduce themselves and so forth. And so that's what it's about for me. It's really the passion to drive this forward. So as I had been involved in the Oregon Workforce Investment Board, and as I was getting ready for retirement, I asked the folks at Oregon Business Council, as well as my good friend Todd Nell, who is the director over at Workforce Talent Development Board, if there wasn't a place that I could help. And so they said, by golly, we've got a spot. And so they were just really launching the first elements of the Workforce Readiness Committee, and I'll talk a little bit more of that here in just a second. But essentially, what I want to do is give you a background. The Workforce Readiness Committee is a subcommittee of the Workforce Talent Development Board, and it was really formed as an ability of the Workforce Talent Development Board to finally bring action to policy. And what the foundations of that were really rooted in the talent assessment that was done in Oregon in the 2020-2021 era, but also from years and years and years of business and industry in the state of Oregon saying, I appreciate what you're doing in the schools, but the people that are working in my organization and coming to my organization, both out of the education as well as workforce development, really aren't possessing the kind of skills that are necessary to have them be successful, what I'll call foundational skills. These are what they call the essential employability skills, and they are what many people have termed soft skills, social emotional skills, professional skills, so forth. There've been a number of names, but you will see skill sets such as communication, collaboration, problem mindsets, entrepreneurial, analysis mindset, digital literacy, financial literacy, and so forth. So these are sets of skills that came out of this particular survey. And the goal was to really say from the Workforce Talent and Development Board, looking at the agency system that we had in Oregon and saying, even though these skills are needed, there really is no form of a rubric within the state that's actually teaching these skills on a consistent basis. So that formed the foundation. And so from there, we worked then as a committee to really say what we wanted to do is have an effort that would take those 10 essential skills, and it would be the same skills taught with consistency from literally kindergarten through adult. And so the process then was to make sure because this often happens, is that programs, as they go through the various institutions, get redefined. And in the process of redefining, it clouds constructive communication. And so we work very, very hard to try to develop that process. So we aligned ourselves with work that had really already started, and then there was some elements of construction and so forth done by the Willamette Education Service District. A woman by the name of Sherry Clark. Sherry is really the chief architect of the Oregon Essential Employability Skills, or OES. Actually, I'll use that acronym as we move forward. But in addition to that, then the Future Ready Oregon process then kicked off, and a part of that grant funding process funded 9 community colleges to collaboratively work together to bring essential employability skills to the community college environment with a set of characteristics that then could be badged, so that students that were learning could actually start to acquire that knowledge and then be certified in that knowledge so that they could take that out into the workforce. So alignment of systems, alignment of language, alignment of presentation, all of that process has been going on. And so we have reached, we've essentially test marketed the rubric called OES, and if anybody is interested, the best way, and I don't have slides today, but because I want to point you towards the website, because I think there is great knowledge in the website, and we would love to have your feedback as well. But it's Oregon OregonEmployabilitySkills.org, OregonEmployabilitySkills.org. And so, Jim, you might even want to throw that up on the chat if you get a chance. So, but here is what we have really created is that we have education, community colleges, and industry alignment. We have curriculum. We have a complete cadre of notes, infrastructure for those who wish to deploy training of the employability skills. It is geared towards, and it is written with multi-languages. We have an online version as well. We have avatars that are embedded in a number of the pieces of curriculum, particularly on the middle school level, because we found that the kids can really kind of relate to the avatars a little better than they can in some of the other areas. And so that rubric has been dramatically built over the last couple of years, and again resides free of charge and free for access on the Oregon Employability Skills website. And you'll see a categorization of that website when you get there, so you can see that it's targeted to families, to students, to businesses, and also to the general public. So that's what employability skills are. What was interesting about this whole venture to me was the fact that these particular skills were skills that business and industry had been asking for years, and yet it had never been integrated within our educational systems or necessarily even directly in our workforce training systems. So what we wanted to do is to bring a structure that could be leveraged. It doesn't have to be followed exactly. And Jim, I think you have great knowledge of that and how that's used and how that was used with the Team Oregon build. It's open for construction and so forth. But here's the problem. It's not a mandate, A. B, it fits anywhere. It could be taught in mathematics, in science, in CTE classes. It could be taught in multiple community college settings. It could be taught within workplaces. It could be used for the purposes of trying to find candidates that actually have acquired those skills, or that organizations would like to focus candidates towards garnering and gaining those skills. But what it does lack at this point is a place within the Oregon agency system for it to reside. So we've created this with really the Willamette Education Service District and the help of grant funding from ODE. HEC has been also involved because of the Workforce Talent Development Board and the Workforce Readiness. So we have interest, but then we're sitting here saying, okay, I think everybody thought, yep, you've got the curriculum, it's all ready to go, it's free of charge, it sits on the website, let's go. Well, the fact of the matter is it takes nurturing, and it's a very dynamic structure. So what it will take is an ability to be able to continue to modify that product that is then allowed to then flow out into the public space as we move forward, because we've really found that there's just some great dynamics that are occurring that just simply need to be continuing to be integrated within that process. So that brings me really to saying, so what's the Workforce Readiness Committee? Well, the Workforce Readiness Committee kind of took on this whole essential employability skills piece as an action item. The difficulty is the Workforce Talent and Development Board is not a fiscal agency. And so we really lack the ability to kind of leverage the process that we've actually been able to put out there. So that's why I'm saying we need, and we're looking for an agency to really take us under their wing and to say, let's put you here so that we can then devote some specific forms of financing and so forth, so that we can continue to leverage this great work across the state. That being said, we're not stopping, folks. So Mr. Taylor has done a fabulous job of integrating with, for instance, in Salem, the Kroc Center, of doing a dual program where the Kroc Center actually helped the students learn about the skills, and then actually as a part of the Team Oregon Build experience, those instructors and so forth integrated that language into their process with those students on a daily and weekly basis, and they practiced it. And they worked over, and the results were absolutely sensational. The Willamette Career Academy is another one where there is a whole wall that has all of our these 10 skills on the wall. And what they do is they actually rotate into training on those skills on a system-wide basis, either on a weekly or a monthly basis. So they all decide, let's say communication is our focus, and it moves forward. We're utilizing those as our speakers to the outside world as people begin to kind of move through those various places to really tell the story about how essential employability skills, the criticality of them, because we can't really drive a graduation requirement at this point, although that's always been my goal, is really to make sure that students graduate from their high school experience, K through 12 experience, with two things: that certificate, diploma, graduation for the technical skills that they've actually garnered through mathematics and sciences and social studies and so forth. But also, I've always hoped that they would be granted a certificate being what I'm going to call an economic citizen, and that would be an individual who walks out the door perhaps at 18 years old and is ready to enter the workforce. And the best way to do that is to give them these foundational skills that's going to make them successful learning, adapting, and then leveraging those things that they're going to be learning in the workforce. So what's our future? So right now, we're networking to leverage what we're doing, how we're doing it. We're trying to get as many groups as possible, and we've been focusing on groups, hoping that we can touch one audience that will touch many outside of that particular audience. We've been working with chambers, we've been working with business and industry associations, community-based organizations, education. We have launched training and been in training for now well over a year and a half in many schools throughout the state of Oregon. It's literally touched all the corners of the state of Oregon. There's many more to do. Community colleges, even though the community college effort under the Future Ready process has a badging program for some of those 10 skills, not all of the community colleges have decided that that's what they want to adopt. So many of the community colleges have really looked to the OES model and said, gee, you've got the curriculum, you've got the instructional path, you've got the materials. we'd like to use that and integrate that within our process. So that's where the community colleges come in. We are just about to break ground on a training to actually put the OAS model into Oregon employment offices throughout the state of Oregon. So that hopefully we'll be presenting that sometime in March. So that's one area that we're working on. We're going to continue to talk to the agencies. I've had conversations with all of the agency heads in regard to their potential interest in what we're doing and where it fits. And it's very interesting that the Workforce Readiness Committee, which by the way, I think is probably the best committee I've ever been a part of. It's high energy, people are engaged, they're passionate, they want to make a difference utilizing this instruction. And our process is how we then drive what our next process is going to be, or what are we going to take on to strategically align with the Workforce Talent and Development Board, and then how do we continue to leverage those things that then are created but yet need agency support. So that collaborative effort is critical. So sitting around our table at the WRC are literally all of the different agencies that have a potential to touch this particular program. So, and then I also sit as on a part of the statewide CTE advisory council. And so I try to take this over to them so that the CTE remains engaged in that. We're also involved with the STEM Oregon to make sure that STEM Oregon is a good critical partner within this. So it's really just about collaboration and keeping us all at the table as we're moving forward. Same as I know what you're trying to do here. The last element of really what we're trying to do and where we're trying to force it or push it out is really try to find a national stage. And so I think, quite frankly, from what we've learned as we've gone through this process, Jim, I think you also have potentially seen this as well, is this is really, really unique, folks. The curriculum that's been developed, the elegant simplicity of that instructional model is adaptable multiculturally. It's adaptable to different ways in which people are working with youth throughout the community and so forth. And so that adaptability gives it the flexibility to be presented in many, many different ways with the same outcome, so that the students all recognize the same words, the same concepts, and the same traits for those particular skills. That being said, we haven't seen anything from a statewide level in other states where they've really taken this on and said, how does this become a part of the infrastructure of the state? I think this is something that Oregon can leverage, and we hope to do that as soon as we can. So I'm going to stop there and then really ask, are there questions that people would like to be? I can see one. Raina, you've actually raised your hand there, so fire away.
So I want to make sure I'm understanding this correctly. So I, as a member of our workforce board, staff to our workforce board, we have youth service providers. I can share this with them and they can use any of this curriculum they choose to use with their students.
Absolutely. Yep. And it's available.
Fabulous.
Yeah. And it's available. And it's really been co-developed through the WASD and ODE, so that it is a free platform. And it's been really critical that we not get into consultative relationships for training and so on and so forth. Now, that may change in the future. I don't know, based upon whether we can find a place to fund folks who can actually assist in the training. So.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, and Raina, also, if by chance you need a connection to Sherry Clark, her information resides actually on the website as well, but she's active, even though she's not with WESD at this point, she's very active with this and hopes to remain so, and if you need a connection directly, we can put that together for you. Jim knows Sherry very well. Other questions?
Yeah, and thank you for that first question. So I've put 4 prompts in the chat, and would encourage people to all think from whatever your seat is, whatever the work you're doing. So as you hear about this resource, where could it potentially weave into your personal work, your individual work, as was just noted, and or the organizations that you support and that we as an advisory board support. If that doesn't lead you to to lift something up or to share something out, who might you recommend this resource to? Who's a new person out there that you think, hey, if they see this, discover this, consider this for use with their youth, right? So start to think about those new networking opportunities. What did Charlie share that you want some more clarity on right now? That would be helpful for him and for the crew that are wrapped around OES. I would share with regard to that, badging and the source of data that led to this development of Oregon employability skills. That survey that Charlie referred to was the most responded to survey that Oregon Department of Education and Workforce Talent Development Board had ever experienced. 780 businesses responded in 10 days to provide the data to feed this work, as well as graduation requirement shifts that took place and have been taking place and will continue to take place, seeing the need for these elements to be a part of the learning and growing for our youth. And then badging. I'm going to reflect on the Oregon Leadership Summit in Portland last month, where Tom Vander Ark, who I believe, Ashley, is also providing information and resource to the governor and to the governor's office, spoke very clearly that business and industry want to see students entering the job application pools and the job readiness with digital badging as a means of communicating the skills that they possess. There's a great increase in that, and we in Oregon are a bit ahead of the curve, and so OES is a badged platform with Badger, and so that is a win for our youth. And then, is there anybody you'd like to connect Charlie with for creating connection and conversations? So the gates are open. Please elevate your questions and dive in quickly. We have a few minutes to have just a bit additional more conversation with Charlie. Belinda, please.
Yeah, I put it in the chat, but the Department of Health and Human Services, everything that you're talking about fits into a universal prevention program that could be deemed as best practices across the nation. So basically any school, any tribe, any town, USA could implement this. And I do know from all of our work with youth and young adult workforce with Indian Youth Service Corps, being a part of the Corps Network, 21st Century Conservation Corps partner since 2012, that these are the skills that are necessary and really, really important. So hats off for all your work on this. And I just believe it should be a best practice model, and how that gets vetted is through national SAMHSA departments like that, and I can help you out with any contacts that you might need at that level.
Yeah, that's very helpful. And if by chance any of you are attending a national event and this is something that you would like to take with you, we also have presentation materials that have been developed and would openly support any way that we could assist you in learning more so that you could share that again at that national level. The last part of my notes that I'm looking at above the screen, if my eyes shift a little bit here, is really your questions. How can we help, and then how can we collaborate? And so I think that's been the magic of the Workforce Readiness Committee, is we've had such tremendous collaboration. It was one of the few times when we busted down the silos, and then we tried to get really creative about who needs to have input here, who needs assistance in how it's constructed and where it's constructed. The entire rubric of the OAS model was really developed along the Oregon Department of Education guidelines and so forth. So it's been tested, it's been filtered, it's gone through legal tests and so forth. So it's great curriculum that's ready for launch. So please, Rena, back to your point, is encourage people to go in, take a look, and the notes and the preparation materials Sherry was really, really good. She's got a healthy teacher background. And so she was really good about really trying to develop that full portfolio. So we're just not putting something in somebody's lap and saying, great, now spend the next X amount of hours trying to decide how you're going to deploy this to your students. It's ready to go.
So at the risk of aging myself, you weren't involved. You didn't do a software program called Scan Skills, did you, like a lot of years ago?
No, I didn't. Mm-mm.
Okay, because I worked with a gentleman, but was only ever on the phone, named Charlie, that had the software program that we used, but it was a few years back.
Well, I have a few of those years behind me. Believe me, it's been fascinating watching the difference and how the programs have developed. Again, I think that I think we're starting to focus in some of the right directions again with the youth council and so forth. And it's so important for us to be able to give youth of all socioeconomic classes their ability to succeed. And from my perspective, both as an employer as well as somebody who's been involved in this, I need people to learn how to be more engaged in that process of self-learning and presentation and having the confidence and so forth. And I think these skills are a great foundation to that. Brian.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, not really a question, but we've been utilizing it in our region to varying degrees and varying, different schools, different programs and everything. It's been a fantastic resource. So for like with the STEM Hub, we use it. We've got there's placard all over the wall for our after school maker spaces, trying to drive that in. And then we're actually, for our internship program during the summer, every week the students do a 2.5-hour professional development. So we're taking those topics and tweaking them to now align with the 10 different OES skills as well. I know we've got some schools in the area that are starting to implement the material as well. So it's been a great resource.
Yeah. I'm going to be having a conversation hopefully in a couple of weeks with the Oregon Business Academy, and hopefully there's a way that we can actually integrate it within their program during the summertime and so forth. The summer programs, Jim, like you did with those are great opportunities to be able to let kids graduate out of an experience with just a high degree of confidence and success.
And I'll note that there was a lot of effort in developing this curriculum, as there are hundreds of schools in Oregon that follow the AVID strategies and the AVID teaching methodologies, that the idea of essential questions and daily activities is really driven into this, the cross-curriculum approach. So I'll look for one more round of any questions. Anybody has a question, either in the chat? Getting lots of kudos there. Charlie, thank you for the presentation.
Well, thank you all for the opportunity.
Yeah, and we've got the opportunity for follow-up. And Doug, I know that we do have this on our consideration of items. So folks, to myself, to Brooke, to Ashley or Doug, if you get to us personal notes, this is being considered for some live time, the opportunity to have Sherry with us live next time we get together. And so get us your feedback there. Oh, wonderful, Brooke. Integrating this work to the Oregon Clean Energy Workforce Coalition. So, and I think this is a, yeah, sorry, Charlie. This is a true demonstration of follow. I want to check my memory. I think it was Executive Order 2 or 3 from Governor Kotek that was saying, hey, agencies, hey, all parties, we need to cross-pollinate more. We need to successfully connect agency to agency on the work that's being done. We need to stop duplicating work. We need to make these resources and opportunities more open source and be proactive on getting the tools and resources out to people. So this is multiple agencies and multiple parties working together, and a chance for us in our work with this board to support and promote youth and their development into career, to once again put some promising work into action. So let's see, Sarah's got a great list here. Okay, wonderful, been using it. Got some great comments there to help support the use of. And then an ask of you, Charlie, if you're able to attend school district meetings or somebody that can get out and share information on the program and product.
Yeah, we can. And then I'll go back through the comments. I'm actually leaving this evening for a week, and so I'll be out of town for a week. But when I get back, I'll go back through the chat, and I'll see if I can actually get in touch with people so that we can actually do that. But I saw one was, yes, we can arrange some way to talk to schools, and quite frankly, we'd like to do that, particularly conventions. And the other side is we have tabled at various conferences and so forth. We don't currently have the dollars to buy a table at some of the conferences that are doing it. So that's a piece that I'm hoping our work is compelling enough that somebody says, you don't need to buy a table. Have a table because your story needs to be told. So.
Okay.
Great.
Charlie, it's good to see you, friend.
It's good to see you as well. Thank you all very much for the opportunity to continue this work, and look forward to greater collaboration. I'll sign off.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So I am going to move us quickly, if it is all right with that. Can I just do a quick check-in? And of course, people take personal breaks as needed to take care of self. Any questions for the good of the order before I move into the quick next section? Okay, and we're starting to lose some folks on the hour here, and I know there's some pressing 3:30s for quite a few folks. So this is going to be a share. What I'm going to ask for, my discussion here is short and sweet. I wanted to make sure that you had access to and create exposure of the Career Connected Learning Hub and Network, give you a quick definition of that. We'll do a quick jump into career journeys, and then would like you to look at, when you have time, this is not a now thing, but over the future between now and next month, and especially before our April time, how could you conceive and see your work that you're doing becoming a partner on the Career Connected Learning Hub? The essence of Career Connected Learning was to bring multiple agencies together to create interconnectedness on all of the things that people do, that systems do, to help youth move into that career pathway to really have focused interest in their activities at school, and create a deeper, richer place to store those resources. And so we have the Career Connected Learning Hub. And what I'm going to do is screen share and do a fast walk through these items. And hopefully I have all the right things up on the board. It looks like I do. So could somebody, and Brian, I'm going to lean into you because yours is the only face I see. Could you give me a thumbs up if you see the Welcome Oregon screen? Excellent. And are you on there or are you hidden? Like, are you watching yourself look at me? Nope. Okay. All right. So I cannot see anybody, so please call out loud if you would like me to stop, slow down, or answer a question. Oregon Department of Ed, through ESSER dollars, funded upwards of 60 persons who came together in the Career Connected Learning onset 4 years ago, and it has led to the development of this hub. It is not a website, it is a hub. It is a place of resource and gathering for all of the different things that are happening to support students in their career pathways. It is focused much like, and you see a lot of the same language in the Oregon Employability Skills. They are a part of the Career Connected Learning Hub and Network. It was part of that original funding package. So you'll see educators, students, family and caregivers, industry partners, regions, and then start to move into partnerships that can host. CCL will host your page, will host your resource if you're a partner in the Career Connected Learning Network. So if you would like to join and get more information, you can immediately prompt in to finding out about what's happening in Career Connected Learning. We have many, many regions who are jumping right in and using this as a rich resource. We could do a lot of rabbit trails here, but this is, there's been a tremendous amount of build out for high school curriculum, for middle school, and it's expanding into the elementary, late elementary, and even into early and pre-K opportunities for folks to look at and explore. What are the things that can happen, be discussed, shared, or project-based learning, hands-on learning, experiential opportunities for youth at all ages. So please do consider going through this with the mind's eye of how might I share it, how might we use it in your personal work, or how might in our advisory board work use and share this to continue our efforts to promote and support youth moving into the workplace. So you got lots of great visuals, lots of great explainers, and many, many videos, and some very unique artistry. There is Sassy, the Sasquatch, which now is also an AI engaged avatar that can be used at all ages to support students having a conversation about career pathways and career building. So one of the things that is key to career journeys, to career connected learning, is the career journeys element, which is a 30 video series on young persons who have the Oregon story. Oregon students in the elementary, middle, high school, and almost all of them exclusively in the college and or workforce training world, Oregonians to a T. And it's their story about their life of education and any barriers that they pushed through or made it over to get to the career that they're in right now. So what I'm going to ask you to do is take 30 seconds, pop into this career journeys page. This is on the front page. So if you grab it and go and you start scrolling down, would you, just on what you see on the cards, Jared Robeson, Daniel Garcia, Eddie Ramirez, Maria Stacona, any of these persons that you see, who's the one that, based on the card, based on the image, based on the description of their job, who's the first one you would want to watch based on this introductory card there? So I believe the link is in the chat. I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to look and watch the chat blow up with who's the first person you'd watch in the career journeys. As you're looking, this is being offered to you to consider, is this as a place and space for this to grow? So when you get a chance to watch one of these videos, when you get a chance to consider the platform as a way to communicate career pathways, who would you like to see sponsored and featured on this website? So I'll be quiet for 30 seconds, let you start thinking about who you would watch first, and then I'd like to hear a few comments about how might you use it and how might we support expanding it with our network. All right, we're starting to see some names. So I will share with you that Darian Hanfield is an officer in the little small town in which I live in Monmouth. And I pulled over at a wreck and he pulled up behind me to help get out. We did some traffic management and so forth. And I looked up and I was like, you look awful familiar. And he's like, well, have you seen me on Career Journeys? And so he's kind of a local town hero, and the schools there have been reading, and he's created quite a mentorship program in our area around this opportunity to tell his story. But as a young man who in Eastern Oregon was in the foster care system and he made his way through his experiences to become in the local law enforcement world, and is just a huge advocate and engaged deeply with community care. Cassandra Fleckenstein is amazing. Like, she leads a nationally recognized program She was one of the original 5 persons featured. Natalie's work at Terminal Gravity. You've called out some excellent people here. The next 7 that are coming on are from the Tribal Nations Partnership work with Oregon Department of Education. And so the next 7 coming on will be the story told from 7 tribal nations. And the purpose of the video is to have a near peer experience. In other words, Jim walking into a place in space and saying, hey, become a teacher, become a builder, become a musician, isn't as enticing as a young person, 5th, 6th grade through high school, community college, looking at and hearing the story of somebody much closer in age to them. So that near peer experience is incredibly valuable in telling the story. As with the Oregon employability skills, all of the curriculum associated with career journeys is designed to be open it and play, go. It was first introduced during COVID, and it was designed so that teachers and substitutes would be able to enter a space and immediately move into career exploration with their students. And so we've done what we believe to be a great discernment in terms of touching all the sectors that are of major interest in our state and need that continual career path focus, as well as really creating an excellent demonstration of the rainbow of humanity that exists in our place and state. So thank you, Hillary, for adding additional. And this is a place, Hillary, where if we can make that connection with Career Connected Learning Hub to have these additional resources just all start to stack up on top of each other, the players in this sandbox continue to increase. So thank you for that. Again, I would ask you for quick comments now or in the chat, your interest in seeing this, exploring it more, both the hub and the Career Journeys video process when we come up to our next live time together, so that we can bring you the people who own it and operate it into our space to more intimately share what's going on and give you a real deep dive on it. So would ask you for your interest in that, and it's open for conversation and comments right now, just briefly on anything that you've seen or heard thus far. Okay, if no comments, if no thoughts at the moment, and feel free to throw anything in the chat, I'm going to aim and push for a wrap up. So it is now open. Belinda, please.
Yeah, I just, kind of our strategic plan as a committee, where does this prioritize?
In terms of the share or in terms of the future discovery?
Right, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I know that we have some work to do immediately in regard to advocacy. And so I just don't want to miss those opportunities that are coming right up.
Yes,
with
thank
the
you.
state legislature. And so for us to kind of think about what our strategy is and then really stay focused on our priorities. And this is all amazing work. And I would love to continue down the path. I just want to make sure we keep in mind and are cognizant of what our priorities are.
Absolutely. Thank you. That is excellent. It is in the aspect of the networking and the resources that are available, that cross-pollination, but we're focused on, we've yet to see bills drop. So that this month is a little bit less legislative focused, as the bills haven't completely fallen, for kind of our situational awareness of how we're going to potentially engage as that advisory team with legislative folks and with committee meetings at the legislative sessions. So look forward to that for this coming month. And to your first question, it's in the resource sharing. It's in the where can we support and promote promising practices and groups across the state. And we will lean into and ask more and more of you, what would you like to bring forward and share from your region, from your personal work? We're leaning into what we have immediate access to right now as we build up and build out.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Wonderful question. Okay, we're right at 3:20. I'm going to turn it over to Doug and Ashley to close us out. Thank you, everyone. Grateful. Want to send big thanks for continuing to show up robustly in this monthly process as we build this up and become one of the strong advisory boards for the governor's office and for all of the crews that we're supporting, the young people that we're supporting. So thanks to everyone for the day and time together. And Doug and Ashley, to you for closeout. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. I don't know that I have much of a closeout. I think that's just a really nice wrap up. I would just say, stay tuned. Look for some emails coming out about next meetings, agenda topics, and again, if we can pull off being all together in one location in person, or those as many of us as we can in one location, we're going to try to make that happen. But would certainly love suggestions if you have ideas on where you would like to meet or what type of a program you would like to visit. Please throw it out there to us. Probably within the next couple of weeks so that we can get started on that. So I think that's all I have other than a big thank you to everyone. And Happy New Year.
Oh, there's that. Thank you. That's right. Ashley, anything from your desk?
I will send out information when I know what's going on. So just keep an eye out for future correspondence regarding locations and all of that good jazz. Great meeting, everyone.
All right. Last call for any questions, share outs, or shout outs. All right, off we go. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend ahead, everybody. Hope a lot of folks get to see some sunshine here. All right. Blessings and take care. Bye.
Everyone.